anguish cannot be written, it can only be seen on me. And so it's important that I speak and you capture how I look like, and you can see what I feel. So we load on the first concern, just to give it a small background. It's a concern about our presence in this court. And the background is that we visited Nairobi, Kenya on the 16th of November last year as a normal visit through our airport here, through Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and into our hotel. But shortly thereafter, while at a meeting, we were grabbed by armed men who introduced themselves as Kenyan police, and we were instructed that we were under arrest. We were bundled from the meeting room into a vehicle. And apart from a short stop at a petrol station to fill their tank, the vehicle we were bundled in only stopped in Malaba, where after a short stop on the Uganda border, Uganda-Malaba police, where after a short while another vehicle came and we were put into it and driven straight to Makindye military barracks. So the first background to this is that we were really kidnapped and brought back to Uganda by force and detained in a military barracks. We are not soldiers, where we were held incommunicado for 4 days. So the history to our being here is that illegal rendition and detention in a military facility outside the law. From there, we were produced in the military court-martial. A court-martial that had been already declared unconstitutional several times by the Constitutional Court. So we were taken to a court that was illegal, and in the knowledge of the state that it was an illegal court. And it is that court that remanded us to Ruzira prison, where we still are. Of course, as everyone knows, the court was later on in January conclusively declared illegal, unconstitutional, and scrapped. We remained in illegal custody after the court had declared, the court that remanded us as unconstitutional, because the remand warrant we were given, which took us to Ruzira, expired. We had expected that following that judgment, if they still wanted to prosecute us, they would take us to a police station, and a new process would begin. But we remained in illegal detention until we were charged in Nakawa in February this year. It is the Nakawa court that indicted us. Yeah, it is the Nakawa court that indicted us on the 29th of May of this year. And I have a copy of the indictment here. I don't know whether it is different from what you have, my lord, or what prosecution has, or other people. Because my indictment clearly states this is on the 29th of May, but take notice that you will be tried, and that is the three of us, A1, A2, A3. Take notice that you will be tried on the above indictment at the sessions of the International Crimes Division of the High Court, beholden at so and so. So we were indicted to be tried at the International Crimes Division, which is a division of the High Court that is very different from this one by composition and by its processes, the procedures. So,
Fe aba Fabrication Media Uganda Limited tusangibwa Bugoloobi ku Kinawataka Road kunya okulinaana Tree Shade Nursery and Primary School nga fe bakafulu mu kwokya mu kudesigninga n'okukola buli kimu gamba nga branding, concept development, interior branding, wall branding, okutunga engoye zonna ez'amasomero, ez'ofiisi, embroidery ng'olwo tutunga ku lugoye ne tuteekako design yonna oba akafaananyi konna nga tukozesa wuzi, signage printing, promotion material eza buli ngeri, tent and activation tables, gondola fabrication ne 3D designing, eno nga ya computer, screen printing, material fabrication, van and vehicle branding, product display units nga buno bw'oteekako ebintu byo mu supermarkets. Janguko Fabrication Media Uganda Limited wano e Bugoloobi ku Kinawataka Road kunya. Okumanya ebisingawo tukubire ku ssimu zino wammanga ku 0777 44 26 9 oba ku 0701 04 69 62. Tusanyusa okulaba era tujja kolagana nnyo naawe.
And the reason I give the background of the illegality that we have faced in the last about 1 year is that we seem to be in another wrong court. And we don't know whether this is part of again a process that will just keep us delaying to have this matter disposed of. The second matter, my Lord, is that before the summons or the warrant to bring us for beginning this trial, we had appeared before you in a matter of our application for mandatory bail. And arising out of the ruling that you made, which ruling seriously stunned us. Because especially in your ruling, my Lord, you indicated that the court was not aware of matters to do with our earlier charges in the court martial, in the general court martial. There was no record of a charge sheet and the case number. There was no record of the remand that we were detained on. That all that was available to you was the case of Nakawa, and that since the court can't be an investigator to find out what happened before, you made the conclusions that you did. This was very disturbing because not only were all the documents and details of the general court martial process filed together with our application, the very affidavit that we saw, is myself and my colleague and friend here, Ajobeid Lutale, both affidavits indicated how we had been arrested in Nairobi, how we were brought to Kampala, how we were charged in the court martial and remanded sections of the affidavit that I am referring to were concurred with, were accepted as truth by the prosecution. You are not contested. But of course, on top of that, our lawyers here in open court made extensive reference to those very documents and to more than even what was filed. So, my Lord, we considered that your treatment of our application either showed we considered that either you are grossly incompetent, if you could not read what was on file before you, or at least biased, both of which we to be very serious matters, because we run to court, everybody looks at court as a temple of justice. And so, my Lord, we were compelled to file a complaint against you with the Uganda Judicial Service Commission. And if you have not received a notification of that complaint by the Judicial Service Commission, as they are required to extend it to you, I'm sure you will receive it. And so these two issues tie up. In this case in which we are charged to be in another court, we end up still in your court. In fact, today, my Lord, apart from the intended commencement of a trial, you have set aside today to hear our second bail application today. This was the application we made in April of this year. But my Lord, in your ruling regarding the mandatory bail, you categorically stated that it is my considered view that priority be given to hearing the main case other than bail applications. In other words, you already have a view about bail applications, that they are useless. What is important is to hear the case. Have expressed that view in writing under the court seal. So that you also hear another bail application. Maybe that's why our case also ended up here instead of the court where it was supposed to be, so that you are sure now that the trial has begun and applications for bail are redundant. So in summary, my Lord, one, we seek to understand why we are not in the International Crimes Division, to where we were indicted. And two, whether and two, my Lord, whether in light of what I've just said about my complaint, our complaint, my complaint and the complaint of my colleague Ajobeid Rutale, against you, which complaint in fact seeks one of the things that it could achieve would be to remove you from the office of judge. Whether in those circumstances you consider that it is still prudent continue with the processes of establishing justice for us. That's all, my Lord, that constitutes that's what constitutes the concerns that my colleague here, Haj Obeid, and myself wanted to present to you. And as I have said, they are matters of very, very grave concern. We've been in jail for nearly a year now. They are not young people that can be easily adjustable. We have lost so much at a personal level that we would be doing. Yeah, so, my Lord, I'm grateful that you have allowed us finally to present these concerns to you and to this court. In case the Judicial Service Commission has not extended our complaint to you, I have a copy here which we can gladly avail you, my Lord.
Abalungi abatuuliriza era abatulaba olunaku olwaleero tuchaddeko ewa Sheikh Asiraf Dembe.
Sebo sanyusa okubalaba amannya agange Seeka Asiraf Dembe akola ku bizibu by'enjawulo. Omuntu singa aba alina ebirwadde tumusomereddwa, tumuwa amazzi ga lukuya nga bw'obadde ogalaba, tugenda abantu ku kyoto ne twokya emizimu emibi egibabaamu n'okulomba edduwa. Abantu singa abeera ng'ali wano atuuse sobola okumulombera edduwa, ne waba atatuuse nga mpadde amannya ge naye ng'ali wala. Neetaase enamba yange yeeno eri 0707763711. Nammwe bannyinaffe abali ebweru oyagala okuba nti oyagala okulombera ku dduwa ng'olina ebizibu, viza zibuze, amaka gakolongotana, sente zikola zimpita mu ngalo, ojja kumpeereza ekifaananyi kyo n'amannya go, ebyo byokka bijja kummala. Nja kukulombera edduwa, ojja kutereera. Olunaku olusembayo mu mwezi mba n'edduwa ey'awamu ffenna n'abalwadde bange abakadde n'abapya. Salaamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The simple question here is, in view of our client's indictment upon the court to the Judicial Service Commission, if you continue handling the matter, will the reasonable man will the perception of the reasonable man be that justice can be done in your court to the accused persons? My Lord, even with the seat of authority, judges do remain human. And are affected by issues that affect other human beings. So my submission is that on that alone, the court ought to recuse itself. But that is not all. on the issue of denial of mandatory bail from the eyes of A1 and his colleague A2. And it's called mandatory bail for a reason, because upon a set of circumstances being fulfilled, the court has no alternative but to grant bail. And those set of circumstances is accused persons having spent 180 days in custody, which A1 is reminding the court how it dealt with the matter, by stating that it had no record of the court-martial, the general court-martial proceedings. So even on that, those issues tabulated without going through what the A1 directed the court. Will the perception be that these three gentlemen can get fairness before this court? The perception is important, because unless if subjects have confidence in courts of law, then law and order become under threat. The other very important issue raised is about the order from the Nakawa court to the High Court. Because it's an order. The order was to the International Crimes Division. A division separate from the division in which my Lord serves and in which we are today. This is the High Court Criminal Division. The order was the file be sent to the International Crimes Division. The lingering question, how did the file find its way here? Those divisions are administrative, set up by His Lordship, the Chief Justice. Was there perhaps an order by the Chief Justice transferring it from one division to another? Or are the divisions of the High Court allowed to take away files belonging to another? And if that is the case, what is the impression that would arise in the minds of reasonable people? How did it land here and why? Is the question. My learned junior, Mr. Biribumbuka, says that we are perpetual complainers. I will say we are very consistent on issues of fact, on issues of law, and rules of procedure. On that, we are consistent. And if he finds fault with that, then it is unfortunate. We do insist on our rights where the law is clear. whether it's mandatory bail or an order committing the proceedings to a different division of the High Court. My Lord, the whole scenario to us signifies a pattern of erosion of the right to fair trial, and that is what I got from our client's long address to the court, that he feels the right to fair trial, even on elementary matters such as mandatory bail, has been eroded by whatever is happening, beginning with the illegal rendition from Kenya. So what I hear him saying is that this whole case is founded on illegalities, one illegality upon another. A court of justice should not have to act or give any color of right to illegalities. A court of justice should slam the door shut on illegalities for justice to be done. Finally, from me, not from our side, the courts failing to release them even when the warrants of the court-martial expired. That is after the Kabasi Guruka ruling of 31st of January this year. Those warrants expired on the 3rd of February. Yet they were not released. They continued in custody. And the process continued going on without the courts acting on the illegality. That does make our clients aggrieved, and they feel that this case is a build-up of illegal actions. Not to mention the issue of territorial jurisdiction. The Constitution of Uganda is very clear. Courts of Uganda have jurisdiction within Uganda. The acts alleged were abroad. So even that itself becomes an illegality. Arrest without, it's 126, arrest without warrant in a foreign country, without due process. So those are the illegalities I had our client going on about. So I would like I give I just want to end by referring the court to Article 129. It begins at 126, but the most instructive is 129. Judicial power of Uganda. 129. Courts of judicature. This is a court of judicature. Judicial power of Uganda shall be exercised by the courts of judicature, which shall consist. So what I want is just the word of Uganda, not of Kenya, not of any other country, just to indicate the territorial limits of your jurisdiction. So that when A1 says it is one illegality upon another, the court is able to grasp. I cede ground to my colleagues.
Basawo banyabo mbagala nnyo era mbaniriza ku Uganda Eyenkya. Nze muzzukulu wa Gamunga Moses Wamala ndi munnamawulire era ndafuubana nnyo okulanga buli munnayuganda afuna obwenkanya ssaako n'okufuna buli kimu nga bwe kigwanidde okubeera, gamba ng'ebyobulamu, ebyenjigiriza n'ebirala. Wabula mbaleetedde amawulire ag'essanyu era amalungi okuva mu Ohio Health Center. Lino nno ddwaliro eryazimbibwa emyezi 6 egiyise emabega. Ne mu myezi egyo ngenzo dirambulako ng'ebintu eby'enkizo ebikoleddwa biyitirivu nnyo gamba nga okuwa obuweereza n'obujjanjabi obw'obwereere eri abakadde b'eggwanga lyattu Uganda oba abakuliridde mu myaka. Abakadde abasobera ddala mu 300 be baweereddwa obujjanjabi, eddagala, okukeberebwa saako n'emmere eri ku mutindo okusinziira ku bulamu bwabwe eyo gye beetaagira ddala. Era kinsanyusiza ne kimpa akamwenyumwenyu n'essuubi. Wabula bakantemye nti mu myezi mitono nnyo kino kigenda kubeera nga kikoma olw'ensonga nti eddwaliro lino liri mu kazito oba lyetissa akazito ak'amaanyi ennyo ak'okubeera nga eddagala erina okujjanjaba abakadde bano, emmere, ebikozesebwa, emisaala gy'abasawo byonna bibali mu bulago. Eddwaliro terisobola kubikola bino byonna nga liyimiriddewo ku muntu omu. Tukkiriza nti bannayuganda ffenna nga twegasse wamu tusobola okuteeka akamwenyumwenyu ku bakadde ab'eggwanga lyattu Uganda okuwangaalira aba abawangaalira mu bitundu bino Mukono, Namataba, abava Lugazi n'ebitundu ebiriraanyeewo. Be nasanze olwaleero batindigga eŋŋendo empitirivu okujja okwefunira ku bujjanjabi obw'obwereere n'eddagala ery'obwereere. Wabula nzikiriza nti bwe tusaayo ffenna kye tulina ne tudonatinga oba okufundraisinga kyonna kye tulina tusobola okuyimirizaawo eddwaliro lino emyezi egirijja, emyaka egirijja okubeera nga lyetengerera okufuna obusobozi n'embavu okulabirira abakadde bano, okubawa eddagala lye beetaaga buli mwezi, okubakebera. Beetaaga ebyuma kalimagezi olumu ebibatawaanya bye beetaaga okuyingiza. Nzikiriza bangi abali eyo mu UK, mu America, Canada, abali e China, Belgium, Germany nawa eyinza okubaayo omuntu alina ekyuma oba eddagala lye wandyagadde okudonatinga eri eddwaliro lino erya Ohio Health Center ligende okujjanjaba abalwadde bano n'okubalabirira, okubabudaabuda n'okubawa byonna. Sinakindi osobola okukozesa omukutu gwaffe ogwa GoFundMe okuwaayo ensimbi zonna z'olina. Osobola okukozesa mobile money ku namba y'essimu eyo, account number ku namba y'essimu eyo, Western Union, PayPal, MoneyGram. Ebyo osobola okubikola ng'okubidde oba ng'oyogerezeganyizaamuko ne eddwaliro lino okumanya details ze weetaaga okusobola okuwaayo obweyamu bwo oba donation yo. $1, $2, $10, $5 zisobola okuwanirira eddwaliro lino n'abakadde okubawa akamwenyumwenyu mwanattu n'okwekkiririzaamu n'okubawa essuubi saako n'okusanyukira mu myaka gyabwe egy'obukadde nga balamu bulungi ate era nga basobola okukola ebyo byennyini ebigenda mu maaso okugasa eggwanga Uganda. Nkwebaza nnyo ng'owaayo donation yo oba obubaka bwo, obuyambi bwo obw'ebyuma, eddagala, emmere n'ebirala eri eddwaliro lino okusobola okutambuza omulimu guno ogw'obwannakyewa emyaka gyonna. Nze Moses Wamala nkwebaza nnyo okubeera nga okola ekyo ate era Mukama Katonda akunjagalire era akunkuumire ng'oweereza kyonna ky'olina okusobola okutuusa omulimu guno n'okugutwala mu maaso.
Uganda Eyenkya.
Nze Hajji Ashraf Simwogerere, omuwandiisi ate era omuzannyi w'emizannyo. Mu bitabo by'empandiika bikwatagana ku bulamu bwaffe obwa bulijjo oba nga luyita social, political and economic. Oyinza okusoma ebitabo byange nga otusinkana ku WhatsApp yaffe eri 0756 12 65 15 nga osobola okusasula $1.5 buli mwezi. Waliwo comments oba $2 nga omutali comments. N'awalala oyinza otusinkana ku Amazon ku Simwogere Ashraf Kindle. Nkwaniriza nnyo otusinkane era n'ebitabo byaffe osobola obifuna hard copies okuva ku Mukono bookshop oba okulagiriza ku WhatsApp namba eyo oba enamba yaffe eyo gye nkuwadde. Nkwagala nnyo.